A common refrain that we hear when students aren't getting it is to invoke the founders. Well, I gotta tell you, I don't really care what the founders would think. I know. How could I say this? How dare I question the greatness of our founders? Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the legacy that our founders have created for us, but they're not the answer to all of our problems. I think we use them as a cop-out, like a panacea to every situation where a student's giving us pushback and we don't know how to teach them. Let's look at who our founders were. The founders of my fraternity, Sigma Nu, were 3 Confederate soldiers who may or may not have been members of the KKK. If they showed up today, I'm pretty sure the first words out of their mouth would be like, where did all these black people and gay people come from? And then, I'm sure they'd be really excited to talk to me about transgender membership. So, I don't know that they are really the first place that I'm going to align with in defining my organization, and I think I need to look someplace other than the past for ideas. I think we tend to idealize our past and our history. But the fact of the matter is, 19-year-olds have always been 19, and they've acted like it. Disciplinary issues have existed from the start, and they've persisted. I think that we kind of get this hope from this idea that there was this golden age of fraternity, but I would argue the hope really lies in looking at the future of our students. We get into this mindset where we start to value winning over educating. We think, I'm going to win this debate. I'm going to own this. I'm going to dominate this student. It's fun. It feels good. We get to have a high five after that session where we kill it, right? It's entirely self-referential, and it has nothing to do with actually teaching the students. So this approach actually, when you think about it, starts to really impede moral and student development. It reinforces the idea that students should be looking toward an authority figure that tells them right and wrong, rather than giving the student an opportunity to internalize their own ideas of themselves and their organization. By pulling out this founder's card, essentially what we're trying to do is reinforce all of those negative patterns that we say that we don't want to work against. So let's look at an example. We talk about high-risk drinking a lot with our students, right? And let's look at how those motivations actually play out in terms of high-risk drinking situations. I would say we've got 4 reasons behind most of our high-risk drinking scenarios. The students are either trying to conform to a perceived social norm, they are trying to gain social prestige, they're self-medicating for an emotional or physiological condition, or they're lacking the skills and understanding of how to consume alcohol responsibly. What's not on here is because they want to spite their founders. And so invoking the founders does absolutely nothing to address any of the actual motivations behind the behavior. So what we're doing is we're trying to guilt and shame our students into compliance, and that's very unlikely to result in our desired behavior change. So what is going to create behavior change? This is a pretty complicated question, but I think we can boil it down to essentially saying awareness plus desire. When we have a greater awareness, when we understand our impact and our situation and our environment, and we couple that with a desire to actually have something different occur, then we can see behavior change. And it's our job as educators to foster that awareness and foster that desire. That's really where we do our work. And that's heavy work and heavy lifting. Our students need to understand their environment and its relationship with their decisions. But to do that, we have to educate ourselves. I have to have a complex understanding of the student experience. I can't confront a student on hazing if I don't understand the psychological and sociological aspects of that behavior. So I've got to dig deep so that I can get my students to dig deeper. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the framework that fraternity creates for us. I think that it gives an outstanding and powerful framework to help students in constructing their identity and in finding their path. But the process whereby they do that must challenge them to explore the ritual in their own minds. Now, I firmly believe that fraternity does not exist in iconic images of our past. Fraternity exists today through people. It exists through me. It exists through you. It exists when our students believe in themselves. And for us to be good stewards on that journey, we don't need to believe in our founders. We need to believe in ourselves. Thank you.